What is up, YouTube? Welcome to Premium MMA. My name is Hydro, aka Big Splash, and I'm here to give you my picks for UFC Fight Night, Rozenstuik versus Almieda. Let's get straight into it. First up, we got Jessica Rose Clark versus tainara Lisboa. I have Jessica in this matchup just because of her UFC experience. Tainara, she is a champion in other organizations, but I believe all she has is just a stand-up game. She's good with striking, and I think Jessica's just a better all-around fighter in this matchup, and this is going to be a tough match for tainara. Tainara is tough in her footage. She is a dog. She doesn't mind getting hit to get her hits in. But to me, Jessica Rose Clark is relentless. She does pressure all her opponents. She's not afraid to go to the ground. She'll stand up with you, and her striking is actually pretty nice. So I'm gonna go with Jessica Rose Clark here in this matchup. Next up, we got Bryan Battle versus Gabe Green. This was a hard one to choose for me, y'all. Gabe Green, he keeps the pressure on people. Bryan Battle is a good knockout artist, a great kickboxer. But that pressure from Gabe Green, I could just see Gabe just pressuring Bryan Battle to the back of the fence and just letting them body shots go off and all that. So this one was a hard one to pick for me, but since it was hard to pick for me, I'm going to be biased with this one and go with Bryan Battle. Because Gabe Green is actually, he's a good fighter. He's a great fighter. He's tough. He's relentless. He's down to fight. He wants to fight, and he'll just stay in your face. And Bryan Battle here, when that was happening with him versus Trey Gore, he could have put Trey Gore away, but Trey Gore kept putting that pressure on him. He was backed up against the fence, and Bryan Battle, hopefully he worked on his wrestling as well, because his takedown defense and his takedown offense is not too good as well. I believe Gabe here is the better all-around fighter. I would say if I didn't know who these guys were and I watched footage, I'll just go with Gabe Green, to be honest. But I'm be biased, and I love Bryan Battle and just his style, and he is hard. If he hits you, you're out. If he hits you, you're out. If his shin connects to your face, you're out. And he's good at setting up those shots. That's why he sits back so much, because he tries to pick out his shots. But I like Bryan Battle in this matchup. It's gonna be a hard one for him to win, especially going down in a weight, because he's originally in a middleweight, so now he's fighting at welterweight, and his welterweight debut didn't go as well. He got wrestled. He got out wrestled. Gabe Green should win this fight, but I'm rooting for Bryan Battle. I'm going for Bryan Battle. That's my boy, and this is a biased pick here. So, but my pick for this matchup is Bryan Battle. Next up, we got Yeon Kim versus Mandy Bohm. I got Yeon Kim in this matchup. Mandy Bohm, she's an alright fighter, but her stand-up game is not good. Her ground game, she does not have a ground game at all. Kim doesn't have a ground game, but at least she could survive. It looks like she could survive better on the ground. But in this matchup, Kim is the better striker. Definitely. She is definitely the better striker in this matchup. Mandy Bohm tends to cover up and just, twist her head or even turn around. Like, yeah, Mandy Bohm, she's someone you don't want to bet on. I know the record, when you look at their records, it's way different, but Kim fought the better and harder competition than Mandy. So I'm going with Kim in this matchup. Easy win in decision. Next up, we got Natan Levy versus Pete Rodriguez. I'm going with Natan Levy in this matchup, being the better all-around fighter. And I'm not saying Pete Rodriguez isn't a good fighter. He's great in the stand-up. He puts out a lot of volume, but he is going down in weight. He's originally a welterweight, but now he's going down to lightweight, which is 150, and that's a whole 20 pounds difference. So we're going to see how he looks and see how he is, especially during weigh-ins, see if he actually looks good or feels good. So that's a red flag and problem for me right there. If you're going for Pete Rodriguez, he's usually a welterweight, but he's fighting in lightweight in this matchup. And Natan Levy, he's gonna look healthy in this matchup. His stand-up is good. His stand-up has gotten better. He is a great jiu-jitsu artist. He competes in jiu-jitsu competitions when he's not fighting in the UFC. So I got Natan Levy in this matchup, especially being the better all-around fighter. Next up, we got Carlos Ulberg versus ihor potieria. Now, this is going to be a good fight. This is going to be fireworks. This might even get fight in the night. These are two brawlers, two guys who aren't afraid to get hit in the face and who are just trying to look for knockouts, just trying to search for that chin. So, yeah, this is going to be a really exciting fight right here, and I can't even wait for it. But I'm going for my boy Carlos Ulberg. just being the better technical striker. I think he is the better striker in this matchup. I believe this matchup is going to stay on the feet. They're just going to duke it out, and Carlos here could get the knockout, being the better technical striker, moving his head and just setting up his shots. On the other hand, ihor potieria has power as well, but I don't think he's as good as a striker as Carlos. If you watch Carlos footage, he puts it on his opponents. He's that dude. He looks like a boxer out there. It's crazy. Ihor potieria, he just throws them wild hooks. He does have a win over Shogun, but Shogun was 42 years old at that point, and that's not the Shogun that was in his prime. So, but it was a good match. Ihor did look good in that fight. He got the knockout, but in this matchup, this is just a way harder competition for Ihor. And I don't think Ihor has faced the competition Carlos has. So I'm going with Carlos Ulberg in this matchup. Next up, we got Cody Stamann versus Douglas Silva de Andrade. This was a tricky matchup for me to pick, but I'm going with Douglas Silva just because Cody, he's not trustworthy. He'll show up in some fights and then not show up in some fights. And his IQ is just in the middle. It's not, he doesn't have good IQ, but his IQ is not that bad neither. But he does make mistakes in the octagon. So yeah, you could say his fighting IQ is pretty low. Well, in my eyes, when I see him fight, because a lot of fights that he was supposed to win, he lost, and it was because he made those mistakes. Douglas Silva, on the other hand, he might look old to you, but he still got it. He's still tough, and he still likes to fight. That's what he says. And watching his footage, even now in his last fight, he looks so good in that win. So I got Douglas de Silva in this one. Next up, we got Carl Williams versus Chase Sherman. These guys were supposed to fight last week, and I had Carl Williams all the way. I don't know why they didn't fight last week. I don't know the reasons. I don't even care. They're fighting now, and Carl Williams is the most safest parlay piece you could ever put in a parlay in this matchup. Carl Williams is going to put it on Chase Sherman. He's going to whoop Chase Sherman's ass. Maybe even get a finish. Carl Williams has the wrestling. He has the striking. And he's just the better all-around fighter. He's going to outstrike Chase Sherman and whenever he wants to, just shoot for that takedown and take down Chase and just grind him out. I want Carl Williams to get a finish here, but you never know. He just might even just let it drag and just ground and pound him, maul him, and just into the third round, and win the decision that way. But if it went to decision, it'll be like a 30-25, 30-27. I'm telling you. So I got Carl Williams in this matchup all the way. Next up, we got Matt Brown versus Court McGee. I got Court McGee in this matchup. Matt Brown is still a dog. He is 42 years old, and look at him. He looks like half a zombie. But he's still tough. He'll still stay in the fight. But does he have the hands and the technique and the durability he used to have? No. I believe in this matchup. Well, these two guys are old. They're older guys. But in this matchup, Court McGee is the more durable guy. And I think he'll put it on Matt Brown in this matchup and just do whatever he wants to him. Matt Brown, this might be his last fight. If it's not, then he's a soldier. Or other than that, he's crazy. But I got Court McGee in this matchup. Next up, we got Tim Means versus Alex Morono. Tim Means is a tough opponent, but he is getting older. He's 39 years old. But his striking is still there, and he still will be in your face and pressure you, which I love about Tim Means. He's exciting, and he has so many fights. He's so experienced, and he's still tough. He's still a dog. He still stay in the fight. He doesn't really get knocked out like that. He'll go to decision with you, and he'll keep pressing you. But Alex Morono here, he's so good at striking and on the feet. And I believe Tim Means putting that pressure on Alex will not have that. Alex will not let Tim put him on the fence. Alex is good. He's damn near a boxer. He's gonna throw a few punches, slip, change angles. Throw a few punches, slip, change angles. And if Tim Means is pressing Alex, he'll just take a couple steps back and roll out and circle out. That's it. Alex Morono is actually pretty good. So, and I believe this is a matchup for him to get a win back, because I think he did lose I forgot who he lost to, but it was in decision. He didn't get knocked out or anything because Alex Morono was tough too. But I do believe this is a comeback win for Alex Morono. So my pick here in this matchup is Alex Morono. Next up, we got Daniel Rodriguez versus Ian Garry. Daniel Rodriguez is a great striker. He's a great striker. He's good on the feet. But I'm going to have to say Ian Garry is better on the feet. And this fight here is going to say strictly on the feet. And Ian Garry is the better striker in this matchup. And I believe Ian Garry is going to put it on Daniel and maybe could find a TKO. Not a straight up knockout, but have Daniel Rodriguez curling up because Ian Garry is dangerous. Those arms are long and those hands are powerful. And they're fast. They're very fast. He's just really good on the feet. And he's just good all around. And I think he's a great prospect in the welterweight division. And I believe he can get it done here. It might go to the decision because Daniel Rodriguez is a dog and he can fight. He got hands too. But like I said, I believe Ian Garry is the better striker, especially in a most likely striking matchup. So I'm going with Ian Garry here, keeping his O. Next up, we got Anthony Smith versus Johnny Walker. I got Johnny Walker all the way, baby. Just because Anthony Smith, he's not as active anymore. And it's not that he's not that old. Like, he's not that old. But it's just this competition now, I don't think he can hang with these welterweights now. And Johnny Walker, he has been getting better. He's gotten so much better since his fight with Jamal Hill. It's crazy. And that win over Paul Craig, that gave me I put more respect on him now after my respect is higher for Johnny Walker now that I saw him beat Paul Craig and just how much better he has gotten. So I believe Johnny Walker here could pull this off in decision, maybe get the TKO. Because Anthony Smith is a good wrestler, he's a good fighter, but no, not with this competition now. I believe he's done. I believe he's going to retire soon. He might retire after this fight. Like I said, he's still young, but he's not going to get no title shot anytime soon. Like, this is just another stepping stone for Johnny Walker. So I do have Johnny Walker in this matchup. Now we got the main event. Jairinho Rozenstuik versus Jailton Almieda. Jailton Almeida's finna whoop Rozenstuik ass. Almieda is just so good. He's so relentless, so much pressure, and just he could do everything. Look at his average. He averages almost 7 takedowns a fight. He's just so strong, so relentless, and he came from light heavyweight, and he's beating up all these heavyweights. Come from light heavyweights, beating up all these heavyweights, and you can see I spelled heavy wrong because I don't know how to spell. But other than that, Almeida has this in the bag. This is another stepping stone for him to fight John Jones. Unless no, actually, I don't think he's gonna even fight John Jones because John Jones says he's gonna fight Stipe and then retire after that, which is nice. So then that title is gonna be on the line. And I think Almeida is gonna be the heavyweight champion, and that's gonna be a problem for the rest of these heavyweights because Almeida, he fights like a middleweight, light heavyweight, but has the strength of a real heavyweight and can wrestle those heavyweights. He can wrestle. He probably weighs in. He probably weighs in at about 230, 235, and he's fighting Rozenstuik, who probably weighs in at 265, 266, and he'll ragdoll Rozenstuik. So I got Almeida being the better fighter, better all around fighter in this matchup, and yeah, just beating the Rozenstuik might find the knockout, might get the submission. Just do whatever he wants to Rozenstuik, to be honest. So yeah, I got Jailton Almeida all the way. That is it for my quick picks for UFC Fight Night Rozenstuik versus Almeida. This is going to be a real exciting one. It's going to have me on the edge of my seat, and I just can't wait for it. All great matchups. If y'all agree with me or enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one.